If you're thinking about buying a monitor anytime soon, you need to watch this video first. There are tons of options out there and it's easy to get overwhelmed. But if you understand a few key things before buying, you'll be able to pick the perfect monitor for your needs. But first of all, what kind of user are you? Mainly there are three types of users. First is gaming. If you are into competitive games or just love smooth visuals, in which the main focus is refresh rate and response time, then comes the creative workflows that include photo and video editing, animations, designing, or even architectural work. For you, color accuracy and panel quality matters the most. And lastly, there's productivity. Whether you're doing office work, studying, programming, or just watching content, your main focus should be on screen size, resolution, and overall viewing comfort. Knowing which type of user you are is the first step to choosing the right monitor. So by the end of this video, you'll have a clear idea of which monitor is right for you. So let's get into it. First, let's go over some important terms you should know. Almost all monitors uses LED backlighting paired with LCD panels. When it comes to LCD screens, there are three main panel types: TN, VA, and IPS. You have probably come across these before. You'll usually see the panel type mentioned right in the title or in the specs section. Each of these panels is built on different technology and offers completely different display characteristics, with their own set of pros and cons. So let's break them down, starting with the IPS panel. IPS panels are the most common type used in the monitors today. They're ideal for tasks that demands visual accuracy, like photo and video editing, because they deliver the best color reproduction and viewing angles out of the three. On top of that, IPS monitors typically have strong contrast ratios, wide color gamuts, and better color depth. Now, if you work with colors, the three things I just mentioned are crucial. Let me quickly break them down for you. First step is color depth. When checking a monitor specs, you'll often see terms like 8-bit or 10-bit. That tells you how many colors the monitor can display. An 8-bit panel can show around 16 million colors, while a 10-bit panel jumps to a whopping 1 billion. You might also see something like 8-bit plus FRC. That means the monitor uses an 8-bit panel with frame rates controlled to stimulate near 10-bit performance. And that's usually more affordable than a true 10-bit display. Next is color gamut. Look for values like sRGB, Adobe RGB, or DCI-P3 in the monitor specs. For example, a monitor might cover 145% of the sRGB gamut. The higher the percentage, the more accurate and vibrant the colors will appear. So if colors matter to you, look for high values in standards like sRGB, NTSC, or DCI-P3. Finally, contrast ratio. You'll see numbers like 3 million ratio 1 in the specs sheet. That ratio shows difference between brightest white and the darkest black the monitor can display. A higher ratio means a wider range of tones, which is especially important for colorful scenes, whether you're editing or gaming. So now you get why IPS panels are so popular. If you care about color accuracy and consistency, IPS is definitely the way to go. Now let's talk about the TN panels. TN panels usually have the weakest color reproduction and the worst viewing angles among the three panel types. But they do have one big advantage: refresh rate. TN panels offer higher refresh rates at lower price than IPS or VA panels. So what exactly is refresh rate, or hertz? If you have browsed through monitor listings, you have probably seen numbers like 60 Hz, 144 Hz, or even 280 Hz. That number tells you how many times the screen refreshes per second. For example, a 144 Hz monitor can display 144 frames per second. For everyday tasks like browsing or watching videos, 60 or 70 Hz is perfectly fine. But if you're a competitive gamer, you'll benefit from higher refresh rates like 240 Hz or 360 Hz. They help you track fast-moving enemies more accurately. Now a quick reality check. If you're buying a 240 or 320 Hz monitor, your PC needs to actually deliver 280 or 320 Hz depending on the monitor. If you're only getting 60 FPS, then you're only seeing 60 frames. So yeah, a high-end monitor is only as good as the system powering it. Anyways, back to the TN panels, they also offer the lowest response times. Speaking of which, you might ask, what is response time? You'll often see values like 0.5 ms, 1 ms, or 4 ms listed in the specs. That refers to how quickly the pixel on your screen can change colors. Gaming monitors are designed for low response time to keep everything sharp. But if your monitor has a high refresh rate but a slow response time, you'll run into a problem called ghosting, where moving objects leave a blurry trail behind. That happens when the pixels can't keep up with the refresh rate. So to sum it up, if color accuracy isn't a top priority for you, you don't do much creative work, and you are more focused on competitive gaming with a tighter budget, then a TN panel might be a solid choice. Now let's move on to VA panels. You can think of this panel type as the middle ground between IPS and TN. In terms of viewing angles, VA panels aren't as good as IPS, but definitely better than TN. Same for color quality. Not quite IPS level, but far better than what TN panels offer. Pricing also falls in the middle. Generally more affordable than IPS, but more expensive than TN. On the flip side, VA panels offer excellent contrast ratios. They produce deep blacks and more cinematic look, which make them a popular choice for TVs. So if you're mostly using your monitor for watching movies, casual gaming, or day-to-day tasks, a VA panel could be a solid pick. So to quickly sum up the three panel types, if you work with color-sensitive tasks and want vibrant, accurate visuals, and budget is not a problem, go for an IPS panel. If you are into competitive gaming, don't care much about color quality, and you are on a tighter budget, a TN panel can be a great fit. And if you are mainly using your monitor for everyday tasks or watching movies, a VA panel offers a nice balance with deep blacks and decent overall performance. Now let's talk about the resolutions. Monitors are usually labeled with terms like 1080p, 2K, 4K, and even 8K. At first glance, it might seem like 8K is just the double resolution of 4K, but in reality, it's nearly 4 times the pixel count of 4K, and a whopping 16 times that of 1080p. So when choosing the right resolution, you need to think beyond just the number, and consider your use case. Now let's move on to something even more important: monitor size. If you're into competitive titles like Valorant or CS2, it is not recommended to go above 24 inches. Larger screens may sound appealing, but in fast-paced games they can actually hurt your performance. Why? Because anything bigger than 24 inches makes it harder to stay focused. You'll constantly move your head just to keep up with the things happening on the screen. Almost all the competitive players stick with 24 inches monitor. That said, if you prefer cinematic single-player games or work in creative fields like graphic design or video editing, then going for a larger display like 27-inch or 32-inch with a 2K or 8K resolution can make a lot more sense. Now, let's talk about one more important factor: PPI, or pixels per inch. This value represents how many pixels are packed into each inch of the screen. The higher the PPI, the sharper and clearer everything looks. Of course, this can vary based on personal preferences. For example, some people are totally fine using a 27-inch 1080p monitor. But for me, a low pixel density feels uncomfortable. It really depends on what you are used to and what feels right for your eyes. Now, let's quickly go over a few other important monitor technologies. Ones that are easier to understand but still worth knowing. First up, FreeSync and G-Sync. Let's say you're gaming on a 144Hz monitor, but your game's FPS doesn't perfectly match the refresh rate. That mismatch can cause screen tearing or stuttering. This is where FreeSync by AMD and G-Sync by NVIDIA comes in. They sync your monitor with your GPU to eliminate those issues. FreeSync works with AMD cards and many newer NVIDIA cards, while G-Sync is NVIDIA exclusive and tends to perform better, especially at lower frame rates. Next is HDR, High Dynamic Range. HDR boosts visual quality by making blacks deeper, whites brighter, and colors more vivid overall. On a good HDR cable monitor, games and movies that support it can look absolutely stunning. Before we wrap up, always research the model before you buy. Look for user reviews or ask around in forums to see if the monitor has any known issues. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and help me reach 1K subs. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If not, feel free to hit that dislike. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.